Okay, so here we go, Project 3000T underway. I could clean all this out, but I'm not going to yet. First step is to remove the motherboard, but the first step would be to take a 3/16 hex nut driver and remove all of these little screws. Why? Because you can't get the board out without it. This is serial number 442. 442. My Amiga 4000 is serial number 439. This is 442. Supposedly there was 8,000 3,000 towers made. Now you're going to notice on the 3000T this actually says mouse 1 and mouse 2. My hands are tired. I'm working on this with a friggin' huge smile on my face. Next is the removal of the screws on the motherboard. For that we're going to use John Holmes, starting from the bottom. There you go. The ROM lines are totaled. So I'm going to zoom in on this area up here. This is the GP. This is not a Varga, which is why it did not barf as much. So what we're looking at is right here. You can see the ROM lines that go from the FPU to the ROMs, also over to the Super DMAC, and the RAM are toast. Some of these are CPU bus lines. They run around this way underneath down here. Over to the RAM, they're toast because the battery blew them out. That's no big deal. As far as the damage of a battery, holy crap, it still has voltage. 1.93 volts. This battery's still good. 30 years. And the battery's still not good. Holding a charge. So for that, we're going to use my new super solder socket. This is Moana 3. Ta-da! That was leaking, but only on one side, right there on the negative. This gives us a better shot to see where our issue is. You see why it doesn't boot? Ooh, I see some yuck right there. The silk screening is actually came off of the battery, and there's blue. Never seen blue. We have a clean hole right here. Okie dokie. So I'm removing the ROMs. U181. I actually write on it in a Sharpie on the bottom. Used the Jonard. Still wasn't enough. Had to carefully pry it a little bit. Battery leak goes up underneath this socket, so I'm going to have to remove this socket. Yep, it extends to here. So you can see she's kind of crusty. What we're looking at here, let me get a finger poker. So these are the various FPU lines. These are some ROM lines. So this one's good, this one's good, this one's broke, this one's broke. The one underneath it's broke. And that's as far as I've got. This one's so bad I can actually pick it up and slide it off of the entire trace. There it is. There is a couple 74LS issues right here on U204. 7:03 p.m. Took a break, ate some chicken. Socket came out like really clean. No pins lost. Everything's, it's an original Commodore socket. And it's actually in a really decent shape. So right here you can see the gold. Since there are no Gerbers or PCB Explorer of this, I am resorting to manually mapping out FPU pins that are bad, and I have to manually trace them to their destinations, which I could not get to because they were under the socket. So I had to remove the top socket for U181, and I'm going to pin out what is wrong, and then I have to bodge wire those pins on the bottom, which don't link on the top, but the vias do. It's fun. This Kotto solder sucker, I had an Amazon thing. I got one off eBay. I got screwed over on it, so I bought it off Amazon. It was like 30 bucks. I think you can get them on eBay too. Normally I shop on eBay because of PayPal buyer protection, but Amazon does a good job also with buyer protections. It's up to you. Really good. The idea is it's a silicone tip. So as you're soldering, you literally put this over the hot ball and hit the button. And it's mild enough where it's close enough where you can do it one-handed, even for these old muscles. And if this clogs up, you can just either like do this a couple times and it pushes out a little silver turd, or you can actually remove this and get an actual eject. Sometimes I've noticed this does clog up with a little silver nugget there, and you got to kind of roll it out, or I just touch a soldering iron and clean the tip off. Once a day I do unscrew both ends. There's a spring, you saw it earlier. Clean it out, shot it with a little bit of deoxit oil, helps the seal be really strong and should help keep that solder from sticking all over the tube. Here's how I'm making my own Gerber. I took a photo of it with my phone, shot it over AirPrint to my printer, and I'm going to write a 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. That way I kind of know, and then I'm just going to hold it up to the light and see which ones are what, because you can hold it up to the light and it reverses. That's the bottom of my board, so I'll know where to put my wires. 8:44 p.m. 8:44 p.m. I got 2 wires done out of 10. So I have 4 more to go, 4 more points to go. Bottom of the FPU, socket here, continuity, magic math. Into the parts bin, 44256. Okay, with the board ROM repaired, with the battery schmutz repaired, I have to put the ROM socket back in. I'm using the original ROM. She is perfect. Look at that. It's perfect. So I'm going to put that right back in. I need to get the power supply out of the tower. Okay, so it is currently 9:25 p.m. Working on this for about 5 hours. I got the bodge wires in place. I went and reinserted the original socket, and I put the Commodore 2.0 ROMs back in. All of the 3000Ts are Rev 6.1s, by the way. And here we go. Turn on the power. Turn on the power. This fan is noisy. Ooh. White screen. Awesome. Hold on. No floppy, so it's going to take 20 seconds if it does boot. I should see a 2.0 ROM screen. Or not. Yes! Yes! 3000T fixed. Woohoo! But, turn off. Let's test amber. Amber in the up position is 15 kilohertz disabled. Turning it on. Come on, Amber. Hot doggity dog. This is 15 kilohertz, and then we'll flip the switch to see if she scan doubles. Boom. Ready? Here we go. 31 kilohertz. Yes, baby. Yes. Time to clean up the case, put the motherboard back in, and let's start building ourselves a 3000T. Man, you know how happy this makes me. Welcome to hands-free mode. It is currently midnight, and I'm assembling the Amiga again. So I spent the better part of several hours cleaning all this. Here's the front fascia. Degoopified. The fan looked like death. And the inside has been cleaned as well. There's the dual floppy drive slot with the cover on her. Now, yep, there's a pile of stuff and a gallon of tea. Commodore, in all their goofy wisdom, let me take his glove off, put the power supply in the top 5 1/4 bay. And they also had it held on with these weirdo clips, okay? So when you put this in here, you have to take a clip like this, and this goes in here, oops, and a screw goes into that and holds it. And that holds it all in place. So it prevents it from falling out. That's great. And I drop them, and that's fun. The next thing is the floppy drive, which is pristine, except for the inside. These have these little rails, okay? These little rails go on your device and slide into this tray, right? Let's say, for example, this one. And you see that slot right there? Well, that slot lines up with that slot, and that slot gets one of these things. This goes across both slots to hold your device from falling out, and that is how you screw things in. But you're like, Chris, there's one of these on each side. How do you get your big fat hand into the back to do this? Well, first off, this power supply is roughly 15, oh my god, 15 US pounds. So it takes just a moment. Commodore gave you this little flap where you can stick your meat mullet in here and hold this little clip and put a screw in it through magic of this hole. So get a magnetic screwdriver, and like the game Operation, don't touch the sides. You can stick it right in that hole and
that's what she said.
Tighten it back up. Then this goop, which I have to still scrape off, is actually a sticker of chrome. And that says this area is for additional 5 1/4 drive. Now that is part of that tray assembly that sits sideways. But this also, whoops, this also gives you your protective, whoops, protective stuff for dust, which doesn't matter because it's down there. Sucks in on a 12-volt fan. Now, I'm sorry, I jumped the topic. Power button, power light, hard disk light. This aluminum tape is normally where the key lock goes, but someone put the tape on here, which I will peel off to expose the grid sticker, and I have to clean this. It's a little scuzzy, or I don't know if it's burnt. I'm just being very careful with it. The whole entire case has been cleaned. Now there are the fingerprints of death because of the touching. I have scrubbed and scraped and scrubbed and scrubbed, and I cannot get them off. I was going to try Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and see if I can get that brown dark dust spot out. The power supply came clean, as did the inside of the case. It looks great. This is just a shadow. See? Shadow of the power cords. Looks great. Everything came out really nice. The fan was utterly disgusting. The floppy drive is beautiful. The board turned out great. I am wearing gloves, but I was texting and I couldn't text and type at the same time. So, step one is to put the power supply in. Then we're going to lay the board down, and I'm going to grab the motherboard and we're going to insert that. Except I can't do all that hands-free, so I'm going to do this in steps and just show you little progress blips, because my filming sucks. Sorry about that. This is the floppy drive, freshly looby-doobied. She's got a May 1991 date. She's a 357.
A 357?
And that means high density. There you go. We got her all cleaned up, all greased up. Took the cover off, blew her out with the compressed air in the garage. I did a nice alcohol wipe so it's fingerprint free, hence why I'm wearing the gloves. Hey guys, it's 1 a.m. We're getting back in action. Drive tray's in. Board is in. Power supply is in, but not plumbed yet. Hello from the next morning. It's, I don't know what time it is. I think it's like 9 o'clock in the morning. I've been awake since 4:30 because I got 4 hours of sleep. Ended up staying until 1:30 last night, finishing this up, and then realizing that, hey, gotta take it all apart again because that's the Amiga way. Floppy drive was acting poopy, couldn't read discs, kept doing the triple blah, blah, blah. So, I'm going to recap it. I've actually got one out right now. Boop, 1622. I just put the first cap in. It's got about 4 to 5 caps on this 357 Alpha. Even took the garbage out too. I think there's an issue with the cap because the head in Amiga test kit you can tell to do track 0, 40, or 79, and that gives your stepper motor all three. Only on track 0 could I get the disc to read 11 of 11. When you moved it to any one, it would just crap out. I noticed when I was originally cleaning this drive, the head would stick when I would move this. I can move it manually now just fine by rotating the shaft with my finger. It was extremely tight in the middle, and it kind of still is, like it's getting stuck somewhere, and that causes my issue. There we go, it just blips by. So I'm hoping it's just because the motor has not turned in 472 years that it's just stuck. So it's greasy and it's still making my hands dirty. 1 o'clock basically. And I have recapped that floppy drive, and then I did something dumb and cleaned it. Wouldn't read any discs. So then I did the old normal thing where you grease that thing up and grease the little rail that's underneath that head and grease these things up, and it just wouldn't read any discs. The 3 chime of death. Put it in Amiga test kit, did the old head calibration where you take this motor and adjust it, get that calibration in, then you hit F2 and you skip to the half track 40, then you skip to 79, you get a fine medium of 11 of 11, and I got it. Then I rebooted and the thing wouldn't start up again. This hard drive is dying a death. I would move the computer, but I'm afraid I'm going to blow something up. Let's move it. This drive is just, finally, I got something. So I copied some stuff to it. Right here, sysinfo. We're going to run it off the floppy drive. Now, if you can see that thing down there, I got it balancing on my phone, and I'm going to run sysinfo. You will see it load. I hope. Did I double click it? There we go. So she's loading. Floppy drive light is blinking. And there's sysinfo, right? Cool. But I had this weird pause going on. I don't know what's going on. So speed, 25 megahertz, blah, blah, blah. It's running in RAM. It's fine. I've tested all the RAM and everything seems to be good. And 1.0, 25 megahertz, 030. I'm going to eject this disk. Disappeared. I'm going to put this disk back in. Does it read it? Hell yeah! Now, listen to the quietness. Holy crap. Put this disc in at boot. Ooh, this drive is just chunking, man. It's hanging on by a thread. This one blew up on me. So here's floppy drive Amiga 101. Now this is in the disc, for example, so I can show you. When you take the cover off of your disc, you're going to see something similar to this. This is your worm gear. This controls this thing, which is the head. These little guys right here, there's one on the top and one on the bottom. Okay, it's floppy drive 101. If your crap is crusty and you have no disk in here and you go and blow the dust out, that's fine. What you can do is you can then carefully lift up on this little flap and use rubbing alcohol carefully, not digging around, because these heads, they move. On the inside it floats on like a little piece of metal. So carefully just wipe it, give it a second, and then take a dry cotton swab and roll over it. Why? Because sometimes rubbing alcohol leaves streaks. Okay, lubrication points, right? Lubrication points are here and here, because this thing slides, okay? This slides back and forth. Well, I don't want to mess with mine now, but you can roll this thing. This wheel spins, and then you can get your drive to, like, move this back and forth. If you grab this and clunk it along, what you're going to do is you're going to mess something up. On this piece of plastic that I have hot glued here, there is a little rod. That little rod, it's a piece of steel that rides in these tracks. Okay? These are just a S gear, worm gear type thing that when you roll this, it goes and moves the head down or up. Okay? If this gear, or if this rod, epoxy here, comes off, it shoots this rod over to the side, sticks on this aluminum, and does not hit the track. Okay? Your first idea is tighten up all these screws. No, no, no. Don't do that. Push this tab back in. I got some hot glue booger over there and just doop, stuck that pin back in. She's good to go. Ain't going nowhere. The drive's now working. Head adjustment. If you're getting the 3 phase of death, the 3 clicks of death, what you can do is load up Amiga test kit, Keir Fraser, run this head calibration. And what you're looking for is 11 of 11 on the cycles, and let's do that. We're going to show you that while we're talking smack. Now you can boot Amiga test kit or you can download it. It comes in ADF and Workbench flavors. So I'm going to zoom in here, and you're going to go to floppy drive test, which is F3, and then you want to go to head calibration test, F8. Now, when I do this, you see this 11 of 11? The drive is physically spinning in my hand. It is running right now. See that? It's spinning around. That's why I don't want to move too much. What you do is you get this to 11 of 11 by loosening these screws ever so slightly and turning this wheel clockwise or counterclockwise ever so slightly. That puts tension on that little pin, pulls the head into the correct track groove, like millimeters, if that, microns, and it's very sensitive to adjustment. So if you just a little, I mean, don't go half turn, quarter turn. It's like touch it and it works, and let go and it doesn't. So you have to touch it a little bit It's a fine line. It's just practice. If you have a crap drive that's old, you know, give it a shot. Next, what you want to do is you want to hit, you want to fall off your table. You want to hit F2, and that's going to go to cylinder 40. You saw the drive move halfway. You'll notice it's still 11 of 11. You have to repeat this for 0, 40, and 79. If you get lost, you hit F1. It'll seek the track again. You can see I'm still 11 of 11. F2 again. That's track 79. You'll notice the head is all the way down. And if I hit, it's 11 of 11 again. If I hit F2 again, you're going to see this repeat back to track 0. And you should be within sync. When you have that done, tighten those down. Not monkey tight. It's not going anywhere. It's just for the tension against this gear. If you crank this too much and tighten this man tight, you're going to put pressure on the little thrust bearing at the end of this shaft, and you will not be able to go in and out. Hit escape. It'll stop the drive from spinning. You're good, and then you can just press help, and it will reboot your Amiga. I'm going to take this, turn this off. Okay, so here's an interesting tidbit. I think I am 180 degrees out of phase. This disc I formatted on this Amiga 3000T works on this Amiga 3000T, and only this Amiga. Oh, now you're gonna mess up again. Oh, now I got a read error. I just put it in my other 3000, and oh, there's blank, so it did show up. I put it in my other 3000 and it worked fine. Or it said unknown. This was Music Mods 11 and this one has Go ADF on it. So that says DF0. So what I need to do is I need to do that calibration again. And it's a pain in the 11 of 11. 0 of 11. 0 of 11. So that's why I'm out of phase. So let's do the adjustment together. So I'm going to loosen these two screws here. And now on the screen, I'm going to try and zoom in while I do this together. See this 0 of 11? Well, I'm going to go back to track. I'm going to hit F2 and I'm going to go back to track 0. Track 0 is good. Track 40, 1 to 2. That's not good. Now watch, I'm going to touch this. 11 of 11. See that? No arrows. F2, track 79, 11 of 11. Let's go back to track 1, and I bet you it's all zeros. 8 of 11, 5 of 11, 9 of 11. It's close, but 3 of 11, 11 of 11. Now watch, if I take it out, it'll go to 0. Okay, 0 of 11. Put it back in. Should catch up, 11 of 11. Okay. System reset. There we go. Blank. This should have Go ADF on it. Go ADF. Awesome. That means I calibrated my disk drive and it is safe to put it back in this thing. So that's how you calibrate an Amiga disk drive for your Amiga. It's best to have two Amigas so you can verify that you have a good disk, even if you have an external. I mean, make a disk on that, something that's formatted correctly. Test that one to make sure that it's 11 of 11, and then you can rock on. I want to put in this high density disk. Okay, can I read that one finally? 150 RPM. Should say Amiga HD disk. There we go. HD disk. It's got all my stuff from my 4000 on there. Tools, commodities. 781K free. I like this delay, like where everything's pausing. It's just something weird going on. I don't know if it's that hard drive or this weird pausing I'm getting is just very strange. I'm going to put this floppy drive back in, which involves putting these two rails on and that thing in the clip. Hello from several hours later. I had to go cut the grass. Fell asleep on the couch. We got the old RA SCSI out. I went to Lowe's and got a gatehouse lock. It's not the exact one, but it'll do. I'm waiting on my ROMs here to boot up my RA SCSI device. So I put the lock thing in here. It's okay. The lock is in. It's not like the best lock. I'm gonna get the actual. It's like that type of key. That's the one I'm shooting for. See, now everything's working fine. But when I start doing something, it like gets this like let's set it in interlace mode. Running really nice right now. Ooh. Okay. 8 color. Save. There we go. Interlaced. Amber's on. I'm in the VGA port. I'm going to dig through and I'm going to put Magic Workbench on here real quick. So we're done. 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 This is my backup of my stuff. I'm going to load some crap on here. Be right back. 8:35 p.m. I think I found the weirdness with the Amiga. I was running the RA SCSI, powered off the USB port on the monitor. Every time the monitor would sync, the stupid USB drive power would cut off, therefore screwing up the hard drive. It would boot back up and it would be in this weird glitchy mode. RA SCSI Pi, should I say, this conglomerate thing right here. You'll see a green light right there, just ever so barely. And the greens on the bottom are the RA SCSI board itself. Great little guy. If you have not seen my video on the RA SCSI, it's freaking great for the Amiga. Mainly because of the website it gives you, and you can even get to that website on the Amiga itself to make some SCSI device changes. It can be hard drives, configurations, all sorts of stuff. It's just a device on your SCSI bus. It's not like a SCSI controller and all this stuff. It's just hard drives as files. Make them in WinUAE, add them in like I did here, and you're done. 3000T system is default. I should be able to just turn this on without getting to the website now, and it should boot relatively fast. Pow, we are up. There's Workbench. Yeah, DF2 non-DOS, because I kind of yanked it out mid-flight. Let's get that backdrop off there and snapshot all. There we go. We're going to give her one more reboot because I yanked the disk out mid-flight. Now, what I need to do is transfer this to that other hard drive. So I have to hook all that other stuff back up and then copy the whole entire thing to Big Noisy. This daggone thing looks like a Borg cube. Still backing up. It's taking forever. Got 550 megs of storage space. It's a 200 meg drive, so it ain't that bad. As I said that, that son of a bitch crashed. That was an hour of my time wasted. 10:45 p.m. I'm just recording the screens. I'm sitting down here copying stuff. This is the slowest freaking hard drive on earth. The RA SCSI keeps getting buffer underrun because this thing can't keep up with it. I did get the data backed up. That is currently being downloaded Wi-Fi to my computer via the Raspberry Pi in the RA SCSI. It took 10 minutes to copy Hippo Player. Hippo Player. There it goes. Good God, all these weird bars I'm getting. So, the 3000T still needs work. I have a hard drive. I'm in the dark here. Hi. I have a hard drive, but I don't know what I'm doing with this drive. I'm going to take these out. They're just too daggone noisy. Listen to this. Much better. Now you can see me a little bit. So I'm going to take these drives out, and we're going to continue another day. It's 11 o'clock at night, and I'm tired of getting 4 hours of sleep.